Welcome to the live stream. We're going to be talking about 3 tips, 3 incredibly simple but not necessarily easy things you can do to maintain an optimal weight, to lose some body fat. I'm going to really simplify it. I'm always looking for like the simplest ways, the simplest way to help people lose weight and just maintain an optimal weight and just stay in incredibly good health. I'm going to do it in a real healthy way. Let's go over exactly what we're going to talk about in this live stream. We're going to go over the 3 tips. We'll talk about calories, protein, and fiber. I think if you keep an eye on those 3 things, you're going to maintain an optimal weight. You can get as lean as you want. You can lower your body fat as much as possible. And then I also want to talk about, like I'm going to talk about towards the end of the live stream, I just got back from Italy, had an incredible trip in Italy. I was there for about 10 days. I want to make a little bit of a comparison between how Italians actually live, because the life expectancy for Italians is actually about 1.5 years longer than people from the US. And a lot of that, how Italians live, is going to kind of intertwine with what I'm talking today when it comes to like diet and activity level and things like that. And obviously, if you have any questions, please ask your questions. I'm assuming everything is good, sound, and quality. If anyone's out there, I think we got a few people in the room. Just give me a thumbs up. I normally get a number of comments already. The fact that nothing's coming in, I hope this is being broadcast okay. But let's jump right into it. Okay, we're going to talk about calories, we're going to talk about protein, and we're going to talk about fiber. If you track those 3 things, keep an eye on calories, eat an adequate amount of protein, eat an adequate amount of fiber, you really cannot go wrong with your diet. Okay, let's see. We got a comment here from Mike. Hey, Mike. Glad to see you back. Oh, thanks, Jeff. That's actually Jeff. Thanks. I guess everything's being broadcast pretty clearly, so I'm happy about that. That's great. Thanks again, Jeff. You know, Jeff's in my time-restricted eating Facebook group, and supposedly, I hope this is working correctly because I had some issues technically. This should be broadcast, obviously, live now on YouTube. It also should be live on my 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝘃𝙄𝙉𝙂 Facebook page, you know, which is cool too. And as you notice here, since I just got back from Italy, I seem to be drinking a lot of espresso instead of regular American coffees. You know, I'm also getting a bunch of comments coming on the phone. Let's see. Great to see you back. This is Ed. Great to see you back. Hope you had a wonderful time. I did. Incredible trip. Hey, thanks, Chris. I really appreciate you showing up once again. Good morning, Mike. Good to see you. Sounds perfect. That's great. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Okay, so even though, as you know, I'm a big believer in intermittent fasting and time-restricted eating, giving yourself a smaller eating window. You know, there are tremendous health benefits to that by keeping insulin levels low, and maybe if you do it for long enough, you can take into like cell repair, like autophagy. But the main reason I think time-restricted eating and intermittent fasting works so well is that it's such a great way to reduce calories. You know, if you want to lose weight, if you want to reduce your body fat levels, there's just no way around it. You have to be in a calorie deficit. Now, you don't have to be in a calorie deficit every single day, but at the end of the week, at the end of the month, you have to be in a calorie deficit. So that's like the first major tip, and it's somewhat obvious. But, you know, we'll go over that in great detail. Hey, Gene, thanks for showing up. And my main man, Steve, is here. Oh, Steve, thanks for showing up. Say hi to Joe and everyone for me. I appreciate you showing up. I'm going to call you soon, Steve, too. I want to talk to you. So this, and you obviously, if you show up every week, you know, I shouldn't say you know. I'm trying not to say you know, and like. I want to eliminate those words from my vocabulary when I do these live streams. I'm a little out of practice today. But if you've been following me every week in my YouTube channel, you know that I have my calorie deficit formula, and it's really, really simple to follow. I think it's the simplest way to figure out how to get into a calorie deficit. And it simply means just take your body weight. So I gave the example, if you're 175 pounds, just multiply your body weight by 10 or maybe even 11. So 1,750 calories, I think, is like an ideal calorie deficit for someone who weighs 175 pounds. If you're 200 pounds, 2,000 calories, right? If you're 150 pounds, 1,500 calories. Maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, but I think that's ideal. And it's also to have a good idea what your maintenance calories are, because this whole program, these 3 tips, can be used to lose weight, to get the low body fat levels, but if you're at an ideal weight, you can use these techniques to maintain an optimal weight. So 500 to 750 calories above your calorie deficit is pretty much maintenance calories. Obviously, if you're incredibly active, if you're a marathon runner or something like that, or a cyclist, and you're just burning an insane amount of calories doing endurance type training, you might want to adjust this formula. Another rule is you can go by just 15 times your body weight is maintenance calories. 10 times your body weight is a nice deficit. And I think that's just a great, super simple way of doing it. Blue Sky, oh, thanks Blue Sky. Welcome back. Great to see you again. Hope you had a wonderful time, my friend. Oh, I really appreciate it. I had an incredible time. I'm going to talk about it. You know, we'll go through these slides. I'll get my general presentation. I'm going to talk about my Italy trip. And I guess you guys know I was also in Hawaii about a month or so ago. I got sick though in between, which was kind of crazy. I'm still not feeling 100%. But I may even talk about that a little bit as we go. So number one, the first tip, no way around it. You have to be in a calorie deficit from time to time. And now you probably heard me say this before. I'm also a big believer in cycling calories. And that's what I mean by you don't have to like be in a calorie deficit every single day. In fact, it's actually not a good thing to be in a calorie deficit indefinitely. Like to constantly keep on reducing calories to lose more weight, because there's something called metabolic adaptation. Like when you lose weight and you become a smaller person, your metabolism will automatically, slow down, because you just think you're not as big. You don't need as many calories to maintain your weight. But you can over-exaggerate metabolic adaptation from too aggressively restricting calories for too long of a period of time. So that's why I really love cycling calories. So for example, let's go back to that 175-pound person. So let's say you want to be you want to lose 10, 20 pounds or whatever, and you want to be in a calorie deficit. So first you eat 1,750 calories. You times your body weight by 10, right? So you're in a nice calorie deficit. Maybe you stay there for 5-6 days, but it's actually probably a good idea now and then. Either you can do it every week or maybe every few weeks, go up to maintenance calories. Because the more food you eat, there's the thermic effect of food, right? When you eat protein, you burn a lot of calories just digesting and processing the protein. Kind of like boosts your metabolism a little bit. The research is a little bit mixed on it, but I'm a big believer in it. Just from all the hundreds, if not thousands of people I've worked with over the years, I know myself, I like to cycle calories. You may hear, The Rock, the big movie star, Dwayne, he talk about his cheat days where he eats like 3 pizzas. But what he's really doing in a way is kind of what I'm talking about here. He's calorie cycling. He goes into a deficit. He's also a big believer in intermittent fasting. And then he has these high calorie days that kind of boost his metabolism. And it's also good too to maybe fill your muscles up with a little glycogen now and then, which gives you energy to work out and stay really active. So I really do like calorie cycling. So for example, like I said, say you're that 175-pound guy, you eat 1,750 calories for a week or two, then maybe up your calories for a few days, or you can just do it intermittently. What I've been doing lately is every 4 or 5 days, I have a higher calorie day. I eat a little bit more carbohydrates too. So I'm kind of carb cycling more than even calorie cycling. I always keep protein the same, but I do up my carbs every now and then. I've been liking that. It's been working really well for me. Oh, Patel is here too. Hey, Mike. I love traveling to Italy too. Oh, great. Really cool. Not too far from London. True. Actually, it's interesting because my daughter is in Italy now, and she's actually going to London, which is really cool. Come to England. I would love to. One day. It's interesting. I was at the Channel Islands once, but I never really spent time in London, but I would love to. And just like I'm putting out in the slide here, this is my general rule too when it comes to calorie cycling. If your goal is weight loss, right, to reduce your body fat, spend 75% of the time in a calorie deficit, and then spend about 25% of the time at maintenance calories. I like that. And if you see, I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. So just multiply, if you want to lose weight, multiply your body weight by 10. Start tracking your calories in MyFitnessPal. It's so easy, that app. Once you start entering your food, you can even take pictures of barcodes. There's a free version, there's a paid version that you can even, which is relatively inexpensive. You can take a picture of your plate. It'll kind of tell you how many calories just from looking at your food. Stay in a calorie deficit. 75% of the time, and then 25% of the time, up your calories to kind of maintenance. And it does a couple things. First of all, it gives you a break from your diet. It makes the diet more sustainable. And if you say you just want to eat healthy, you can follow this program as well too. Stay at maintenance calories. But we're going to be talking about fiber and protein in the next couple of slides, and then we're going to talk about time-restricted eating too, which I think is an incredibly healthy thing to do. But I think we got the calories down. Super simple, right? Hey, Melissa, hey, thanks for showing up. Facebook too, so I guess I'm out on Facebook today too, which is great. That's great. Okay, now this is key. No matter what, even when you're reducing calories, even when you're at maintenance calories, the one macronutrient is proteins, fats, and carbs. Those are your three macronutrients. Some people consider alcohol the fourth macro, but let's stick to protein, fats, and carbs. You never want to go low protein. The only reason why you might want to go low protein is if you want to do like a fasting mimicking type diet. Okay, I don't want to get too off track. I'll talk about that quickly. What I mean by a fasting mimicking diet is, you see, whenever you eat, you stimulate growth, mTOR, like growth signaling. You know, when you're fasting, though, you go into the repair mode, right? You're in recovery mode. So the only time you might want to like eat a low calorie, like a low protein diet, is if you're doing that Volta Longo, like that fasting mimicking diet, where you would fast for 5 days, just taking about 500 to 700 calories per day, very low protein, because you kind of want to mimic a fasting state. But that's like only 1% of the time. Look at it like that. 99% of the time, you always want to eat an adequate amount of protein for multiple reasons. Number one, like I said, the thermic effect of protein. For every 100 calories of protein you eat, you're going to burn up 25-30% of those calories just digesting and processing the protein. To maintain muscle mass, which is so critical when you get older, right? When you're losing weight, you don't want to lose muscle, you want to lose body fat, you want to maintain muscle mass. Plus protein, in my opinion, has the highest satiety. You eat protein, you feel satisfied, you're not hungry. And in my opinion, most people are very protein deficient. They don't eat anywhere near enough protein. Oh, hey, Gene. Oh, thanks a lot, Gene. Gene threw me another super chat. Every time I go live, he gives me a super chat. I really appreciate it. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about Gene. I kind of know where Gene's at, but let's see how he's doing. I weighed in at 232 pounds this morning, but these holiday parties are arriving fast. This will set me back a lot. I know how you feel. It's interesting because instead of doing... I was a little off kilter for this live stream today because, like I said, I just got back from Italy and then I was sick, and I was almost going to do a live stream purely talking about how to like maintain an optimal weight during the holidays, like how not to put on weight. But let's kind of let's talk about it a little bit. This is where I do think, though, Gene, where is like, you know, the 𝘾𝙃 diet or 24, where you fast for 20 hours and then taking all your calories within a 4-hour eating window, is an incredible way to control calories during the holidays, right? And what I mean by that is that whenever you're going out for a holiday party, right? Whenever you're doing like, you know, a big get together with someone, that should be like your eating window. You know, so for example, during the day, really reduce calories. You know, maybe have a protein bar around 10 o'clock and do an 𝘾𝙃 diet and give yourself like a 2 or 3 hour feasting window and enjoy yourself. You can definitely do that, Gene, no question about it. I think they can really fit into most people's lifestyle. I find it more difficult for people is that if you're working in an office, like I know my father owned a hair salon for like 48 years, and from Thanksgiving to like New Year's, like my father's hair salon, they would put out trays of food, trays of cookie, trays of cake, and that became a little bit more challenging, I find, more for the staff, because they're just exposed to it all day long. So it's just hard to say, you know, it's hard to get away from it. That's the most difficult environment to be in. But if you're just like Gene, you know, going out to a lot of parties, even 2-3 times a week, just tighten everything up. Turn those days into 𝘾𝙃 days, or even like a 4-hour feasting window. Fast for 20 hours. Have a Quest bar in the morning. Get a little protein and fiber, like I'm talking about, like in this thing, you'll get 21 grams of protein, 25 grams of protein, 15, 16 grams of fiber, and then do your feasting window. Do the best you can with that. I think that's pretty effective. Let's see what Melissa got to say. During these holidays, intermittent fasting sure is helping me not gain weight. Oh, I totally agree. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Melissa. I totally agree with you. That's what I generally do, and that's the rule I generally follow overall. If I know I'm having like a big night out, or I know I'm going to be really, having, doing something, like I know, like Thanksgiving, we did it, but Christmas Eve is a big night for us, Christmas Day. I only eat, during the party hours, which I find a great way to reduce calories, no doubt. Okay, so let's get back to protein. This is my formula for protein. If you show up every week, you're familiar with it, but anyone new, I think you can get a lot of benefit out of it. My ideal amount of protein would be 0.9 grams per pound of lean body weight. So for example, if you're 150 pounds, 20% body fat, you have 120 pounds of lean mass, times that by 0.9, that's 108 grams of protein. That would almost be ideal, but sometimes it can be a little challenging trying to figure out exactly what your body fat percentages are. I know you can use an online calculator, maybe use electrical impedance, the scales that you step on that kind of measures, gives you an idea what your body fat is. But another rule you can do is, I also like 0.7 grams per pound of body weight as a minimum. That'll probably put you a little below 0.9, but actually I've done it for years, and I think it's totally even acceptable. You can just times your body weight by 0.9. I just want to make sure you're eating enough protein. I think that's one of the keys to long-term weight loss, maintaining muscle mass. Your body is all protein and connective tissue. You need the protein. Even if you're a vegetarian, if you're vegan or vegetarian, don't cut back on the protein. You may have to supplement your diet with some pea or some hemp seed type protein, but you want the complete proteins. And it has to be complete protein, like I've talked about in the past. You want those 9 essential amino acids. You want those branch chains, leucine, isoleucine, valine. Those are the building blocks of the body. So important. The only time this formula can get thrown off, I think, if you really have a lot of weight to lose. If you're 300 pounds and you want to weigh 200, I don't think you have to go with 300 pounds. You can use your goal weight. Sometimes I even like to say 50. If you're 50, if you want to lose more than 50 pounds, use this formula more with your goal weight as opposed to what you weigh now. Because 300 grams of protein, I think, is a little bit excessive. I don't think it's going to really hurt you, but I don't think you can really utilize it. And my other rule is, it seems like, and I've changed my mind on this, but from the newest research, and I just did a whole deep dive into it a couple of months ago, I would say the ideal amount of protein you should eat per meal is anywhere between 30 to 60 grams. I try to stay 60 grams because my diet strategy most of the time is 2 meals a day. I try to get close to 60 grams of protein in each meal, and then I throw in a protein shake or like a protein bar because I want to be around 150 grams of protein for the day. Obviously, if you're more of a petite gal or something like that, you can go 30-30 and maybe 10, something like that, or maybe 30-30-20. You're at 90, 100 grams of protein, something like that. But don't cut back on protein, especially when you're in a calorie deficit. That's one of the macronutrients you always want to keep optimal. Okay, that's key. So we get number one was the calories, right? You're going in and out of calorie deficit, simple formula. The next one is to make sure you're eating enough protein. And I've been leaning towards it. I've done this in the past, and I've been coming back to it lately, especially with new people that start working with me. Sometimes I'm trying to keep it so simple. And I find this fiber trick, which is rule number 3, to make sure you're eating like 30 to 50 grams of fiber per day, automatically cleans up your diet. Because for you to get 30 to 50 grams of fiber, you have to eat vegetables, you have to eat fruits, right? You have to eat like things like avocado, obviously a fruit, but that's that in-between food type vegetable. And if you're tracking calories, if you're keeping calories in line, right? And then you're taking an adequate amount of protein, and then you focus on taking in enough fiber, you're not going to be eating junk food. Just think, because if you start eating processed foods like cookies, cakes, donuts, even breads and pasta and rice, if that becomes a bulk of your calories, you're not going to be getting the fiber. And I think this is such a key, simple formula. You keep an eye on how many calories you eat, right? You make sure you eat an adequate amount of protein, and you make sure you eat enough fiber. And you can't go wrong. This is a great way to get very lean. This is a great way to maintain an optimal weight. And it's a great way to eliminate all the garbage food out of your diet without necessarily like driving yourself nuts saying, what can I eat? What shouldn't I eat? Hey, we all should eat vegetables, a couple of fruits every single day. It's a real simple formula to follow. Let's see, Gene got something. Okay, this is Gene's question. Lately, I keep Saturdays at maintenance levels 3,500. Love that. It helps a lot physically, mentally, and also socially. I 100% agree, Gene. I love it. I know, see, Gene's on a very low-calorie diet most of the time, but now 1 day a week, he's giving himself 3,500 calories, which I love it. I think it's a great way to do it. Plus, too, when you're on a very low-calorie diet, you don't want to be deficient in anything, so I'm sure you're getting a lot of macros, vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. But I'm sure Gene, when he looks at, if he's following this thing 6 days a week, eating low calorie, and then 1 day a week, some people will call it a cheat day. You can just call it, I just call it like a high-calorie day. But still, at the end of the week and at the end of the month, he's in a nice calorie deficit. Plus, he's minimizing that metabolic adaptation because he's boosting his metabolism with that 1 day of high-calorie eating. Plus, it makes the diet much more sustainable long time because he can look forward to that meal, right? He can look, maybe sometimes it can get a little tough during the week. But he said, on the weekend, I guess on what did you say you're doing is on Saturday, I'm gonna eat what I want. So I think it's a great formula. So let's review these 3 things. I kept it to today's presentation pretty simple. Calories, 10 times your body weight maintenance. Every few days, up your 10 times your body weight for deficit. Every few days, eat 500 calories more, 750 calories more to be in maintenance. Number 2, eat an adequate amount of protein. Just multiply your body weight by 0.8, 0.9. Make sure you're taking in that many grams of protein. Don't do it all in one meal if you can. If you can split it up into 2 or 3 meals, I think that's better. 30 to 60 grams of protein is ideal. And then the third thing you want to do is make sure you're eating an adequate amount of fiber. And if you do that, it's going to guarantee that you're eating a healthy diet, kind of like the Mediterranean diet, which we're going to talk about it when I relate it to Italy. And then I also want to talk about, because like a lot of my YouTube channel, we're talking about fasting, time restricted eating. Like if you're new, the only difference between time restricted eating and intermittent fasting is meaning that, say you're doing a 16-8, where you're fasting for 16 hours, giving yourself an 8-hour eating window. That will be a classic intermittent fasting schedule or plan. If you do it every single day, most people will call that time restricted eating, time restricted feeding. If you do it intermittently, that would be intermittent fasting. But to me, it's an incredibly good way to make sure you're keeping calories under control. Because when you shorten your eating window, you're going to eat less. It could be somewhat counterintuitive. You would think, oh my God, if I only give myself an 8-hour eating window, I'm going to gorge myself. 90% of the people won't. It's an easy way to keep calories under control. But I do think at least one point in your life, you have to use like a MyFitnessPal. You have to look up calories. I've been doing this, my whole life, so I can look at my plate. I can look at food. I know how many calories things are just from doing it. If you use MyFitnessPal just for like a month, 4 weeks, I think it would benefit you for the rest of your life, because then you'll have a general idea of how many calories are in the food you're eating. And I just want to review, this is my favorite strategy, I think. Favorite long-term strategy. It's an amazing way to get the low body fat levels or just to maintain an optimal weight. Okay, so for example, 16-8, that means you fast for 16 hours. You're taking all your calories within an 8-hour eating window. All the new research, and I've done a lot of videos on this lately, is talking about early time restricted eating versus late, meaning that as long as you give yourself that 8-hour eating window, that's the most important thing. Some people like to take in their calories earlier in the day, like you break your fast 10 in the morning, stop eating 4 or 5 in the afternoon. That would be early time restricted eating, which seems to work a little bit better. But I think anything can work, even late, where you skip breakfast and eat between, say, 12 and 8 in the afternoon and the evening. Both work really well. Both are great ways to reduce calories. I personally like only eating 2 meals a day. Too mad. I think it's another great way to minimize calories, so you're not constantly spiking insulin. It's good for your hormones and things like that. But the key is to make sure you're taking enough protein in both those meals, 30 to 60 grams of protein per meal. And then I like to throw a protein shake in between my first or second meal, or maybe as a pre or post workout, just to make sure I'm getting an adequate amount of protein. And like I said earlier in the live stream, my goal is to be, about 150 grams of protein a day. And then what I've been doing lately is I've been calorie cycling, more carb cycling. Every 4 or 5 days, I up my calories. Maybe instead of eating like 100 grams of carbs a day, I may go to 200 or so on the 5th day. I like it too because it fills up my muscles with glycogen, gives me good energy, you know, for my workouts in the gym. And I really do love it. I love this form. I think you can do this indefinitely for the rest of your life to get to very low body fat levels or just maintain an optimal weight. Okay, let's see what Patel's got. Okay. I treat myself to warm croissants on the weekend, only for breakfast. That sounds great. But manage to clean on my diet during the week. I think that sounds good. So you're probably doing like a normal, that's almost like a carb cycling, somewhat similar to what I'm doing, because there is a decent amount of carbs in a croissant, but a good croissant, I mean, you can't beat that. I think that's great. I think it's a great way of doing it. Okay, so let's talk about, so that's kind of like the general gist of my 3 tips, you know, really simple, straightforward. And obviously, this is a slide I pulled out of another live stream. Obviously, you want to be active. Now, you have to, you'll see when I get to the next slide, when I start talking about Italy, you have to walk every single day, no matter what. I think 30 to 60 minutes is almost like a necessity, a minimum. Good for your mental health. There's nothing better to clear your head and make you feel good. Good for your brain health. You burn a little bit of calories. It's so good for you. You have to walk all over the place. Even if it's just multiple 10-minute walks, you got to walk 30 to 60 minutes a day. I do a minimum of 60. I'm more like 60 to 120 every single day. And then you have to do some type of resistance training. Just really, really simple. The minimum would be just stuff like pushing and pulling movements. Nothing fancy. You can use resistance bands. You can use dumbbells. You can use body weight. So if you're walking 30 to 60 minutes every single day, and 3 days a week, just do some body weight squats, do a couple, two 20 reps, 2 sets, right? Maybe some lunges, do some push-ups. You can do them off the counter if you're not strong enough to do them off the ground. Couple of sets, and just do some planks for the midsection. Really, really simple. You just spend 15, 20 minutes, 2-3 days a week. It's gonna keep you healthier and more muscular, and it's gonna keep, you know, it's going to make you just hopefully lose more body fat than muscle, and you'll be in the top 10 percentile of the world, of the country, just from doing this simple, active lifestyle, walking, and some really basic, simple resistance training. I mean, so simple. Okay, let's talk about Italy, which is kind of a fun topic. It's interesting. I got to go on like a business trip. I'm kind of repeating myself a little bit to be showing up every week. I went to a business trip with my wife. Her company takes everyone to Hawaii, which was like mind-blowing. I absolutely loved it. It was somewhat of a short trip, 5 nights. It's interesting, on that particular trip, I followed like the fruit and meat diet. I actually loved it. I really didn't gain any weight. You know, it was amazing. I eat like a bunch of fruit, and then I eat like animal protein. It worked out really well. I had like my two meals a day, walked every morning for a couple of hours along the beach. It was like incredible. Then I got home, got sick, unfortunately, but then I got better, and now we went to Italy for like 10 days, which was incredible. And the amazing thing about Italy really is, I think the exact number is, the average Italian lives about 18 months, about a year and a half longer than people in the U.S. than Americans. And they do smoke, they definitely eat a lot of carbohydrates, for sure. They're eating pasta and things like that. They may have the croissant in the morning. But I think Gene's got a question, and we'll come back to this. Okay, Gene. Okay, to be clear, on my cheating day, I eat the same food on my very low calorie day throughout the day, plus one really big meal of whatever I want. I think that sounds good, Gene, because I know you're eating pretty good. I know you're doing you're keeping your protein up. I know you're keeping your fiber up, with those Quest bars. So you're trying to say you're not really eating too bad on the days you go to 3,500 calories, but then you have one big meal of whatever you want. I love it. I think that's great. I think it's perfect. Okay. But this is my take. I didn't really look at the research. I didn't really look at any studies or things like that. This is just my take on why I think the average Italian person and we actually even visited, my wife has family there. We had incredible dinner at their home, and they cooked for us, and they've been living in Italy. They didn't even speak English, only the son did. Rosa's cousins, my wife's cousins. And it's really interesting because I would say in general, people in Italy are thinner. I mean, you don't really see anyone really obese. Some people obviously are a little bit overweight. But this is my take on some of the key factors of why Italians live longer, are generally more healthy, and are thinner. First, I think number one, no question about it, they're way more active than the average American, no doubt. And the main reason is walking. It seems like Italians walk everywhere. I know I was on vacation and we were sightseeing, so we must have walked 10, 15 miles a day, no exaggeration. But still, the average Italian person, you can just see they're walking everywhere. A couple things you don't see. Like, you don't see Italian people like eating while they're walking. Like, you go to New York City or something, in the streets, people are like eating bagels and eating while they're hustling and walking. You don't see that in Italy. You also don't see people like eating in their cars. Like, we did a lot of Ubers, a lot of cab drivers. You go to New York City, you take a cab, the cab driver's eating the whole way. You don't see people eating in their cars. You don't see people drinking coffee in their cars. This walking thing and being active, I think that's number one for me. I think why Italians live longer and are more healthy is they're definitely more active. Not that they're doing resistance training. Not that I saw one gym. We were in Rome. I only saw one gym in Rome. New York City, you see gyms every block, wherever you're going. But they're outside and they're walking everywhere. They're much more active. That's number one. And they're not like snack eating. Like, it seems like they do enjoy, obviously, a nice meal, but they eat more that Mediterranean type diet, what kind of fits into this formula. The portions are so much smaller in Italy. There's no question about it. You order some pasta, they give you like just a normal little serving of pasta. Even the animal protein, they don't give you like a pound of steak if you order a steak. They give you a nice maybe 8-ounce piece of steak. And the other thing is, even though I guess Italians are noted for like drinking wine all day, they don't really. I think Americans, when they drink wine, just suck down a glass of wine, drink a bottle of wine. Italians kind of like, it's like slowly will drink one glass of wine maybe with lunch, or maybe just slowly enjoy one glass of wine with dinner. They're really not heavy drinkers. At least that's not my experience. That's not my experience from meeting my wife's family, spending time with them, and just talking about this type of stuff the best we could with the language barrier. It's really interesting. So I think number one, Italians are much more active. They walk everywhere. Number two, they're eating more that Mediterranean type diet. They don't eat too many processed foods. Everything is fresh, and it's really, portion control is another big thing. Like I said, no one is just like sitting down snacking. Even when you would get a gelato in Italy, they give you this little, it's almost like a kiddie-sized cup, where the spoon is only this big. You get a little bit of cream and sugar. It's nothing like that. And then I think the third thing, no doubt, it's a much more, I think, social and relaxed like lifestyle as opposed to people in New York, especially, and I'm giving this, I'm a New Yorker, I lived in New York my whole life, more than New York. People are always outside talking, getting together, definitely more of a slower pace. I don't think they worry as much about things. I could be wrong about that because I never really lived in Italy, but I think their stress level is much less than people in the U.S. It's a combination, and plus when you walk so much and you're so active, it's good for your mental and physical health. It's like so good for you, and they're just not gorging themselves. You don't. It's not like like in the U.S. I mean, most people eat like Dunkin' Donuts, eat donuts and sweet and light coffee for breakfast. It's the exact opposite. We probably drank too much cappuccino and espresso because, you're on vacation, you spend a lot of time in the coffee shops. But locals come in there, they order like one espresso, whoop, they drink it right down, they're out the door. That's their breakfast, or one cappuccino. Every now and then I would see people eating a croissant, but not like a jumbo croissant. A small croissant, or maybe you see someone having a couple of cookie, couple of sweet things. Must be 100, 150 calories, 2 espressos, out the door, walking to work. It's a different lifestyle. I really did like it. Let's see. Well, hey, go ahead. Thanks for showing up. Let's see what we got. I don't really care about living longer, but I want to be less fat while I do live. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you for sure. Well, I love that this. I don't think I could have made it any simpler today, right? Just do these 3 things with a little bit of time restricted eating or intermittent fasting. Do like a 16-8-2 mat with a protein shake, right? 10 times your body weight for calories. Every now and then go to maintenance. Eat an adequate amount of protein and keep your fiber up. By keeping your fiber up, you're going to make sure you're getting, a good healthy diet. I don't think you can go wrong. And then we're going to go through a whole bunch of meal examples. That's just my little take on Italy. And I didn't look at any research. I'm sure someone maybe who lives in Italy can debate it with me, but I just found it really interesting. Okay, let's do the Q&As. I have a whole bunch. Since I was a little light on the slides today, I got a whole bunch of, hey, what happened? I lost the live stream here. Let's see. Are we back? Let me see if I can pull it back. Oh, there we go. That's good. I got a whole bunch of meal examples of kind of like how I've been eating lately. The first two are really typical, or more like salad-like. But let me go over. I think Jeff's got something. Oh, that reminds me. Time to get some coffee. Oh, sounds good. I've drank so much espresso. I got this great machine now at home. I've been drinking too much lately. Okay, so let's break these meals down. I got about 8 different meals. I got a couple of salad, but this is like my classic salad. You can never go wrong eating like this. Okay, this is just, I consider ideal eating. First of all, I can say I'm always prioritizing protein. That's a really big bowl, so it's kind of hard to tell, but I must have about 10 ounces of salmon here, and it's spiced up really nice. Yeah, but this is kind of like, I think like a blackened spice this particular time, because I do eat a lot of the same foods over and over again. Like I eat salmon 5-6 times a week. But how I make it interesting is I think salmon is one of the healthiest foods you can eat. High in potassium, high in complete protein, high in those omega-3 fatty acids, which are so good for you, like your brain health. But I try to make it different by I'll have it blackened one day. One day I'll use a curry spice. The next day I'll just use like oregano with extra virgin olive oil. Oh, Deborah's here. Let's see what Deborah's got to say. Hey, Deborah, thanks for showing up. You mentioned fiber and protein basics. I do 24. That means she fasts for 20 hours. Takes in all the calories within a 4-hour eating window, but have colitis, so fiber kills me. Yeah, I know. My mom has some issues with things like that too. Any suggestion on how to lose pounds without a lot of fiber? I would pretty much, Deborah, just stick to the first two. Unfortunately, like we said, not unfortunately, but you have to be in a calorie deficit. So I definitely would stick to that formula 10, 11 times your body weight. Be in a calorie deficit every now and then. Go to maintenance. Definitely keep your protein up, because I think that can actually maybe help you with the colitis. And I would maybe don't worry too much about the fiber. I know there's a lot of mixed beliefs in fiber. I even, you know, I bring this guy up a lot too, 𝘾𝙊𝘼𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂. He wrote the Carnivore Code, great book. You know, and he would actually tell you that you really don't need that much fiber in your diet. I like to use fiber because I do think fiber is good because it keeps you satisfied. And there are some studies that show there are some good health benefits. But if it bothers your colitis, you just can't do it, right? So maybe you can get away with 10 grams of fiber a day. But I would stick to those two things, calories, and just eat as healthy as you can. So I'm assuming fruits and vegetables may give you a little bit of a hard time. That's why some people switch to a little bit more of a carnivore-ish type diet, where you're eating maybe just a little bit of fruit, or maybe just an avocado, half an avocado. I know, Deborah, I feel bad for you. But do the best you can. I also think it's probably a good idea to maybe work with maybe one of those holistic physicians who are really into this type of stuff. And I can give you some suggestions if you want. If you could just DM me after this, or drop me an email. I'll tell you a lot of the people that I follow, because sometimes it could be an autoimmune issue a little bit too with the colitis. But it's not an area of my specialty. So I don't want to stay, jump out of my lane on that. But you don't necessarily have to go high fiber. I just like that, because if you don't have any stomach issues, it almost guarantees to me that you're going to be eating fruits and vegetables. Okay, but sorry about that, Deb. Okay, we got Patel here. When I visited New York City, I walked everywhere and ate so badly, but never put a weight on. Too many temptations for food there. I know, like that. It's so different. That's another, I guess I should have talked about that. When you're walking around New York City, there's a pretzel stand, there's a hot dog stand, there's these food trucks everywhere. And the food, sometimes it could be okay, but most of the time it's just empty calories and garbage. In Italy, you don't see that. You really don't. Even the pizza, like I say, it's more that thin type of pizza. And a lot of the ingredients are fresh. In New York City, or just in New York in general, you go in any mall, you walk around, it's hard to eat healthy. In Italy, it's easy to eat healthy. It's literally, it's that simple. Okay, Deborah. Okay, thank you, Mike. I basically do carnivore, but get bored at times. No, I think that's good. I think you can really do well with carnivore. The only thing I would say with carnivore, and this is back to that 𝘾𝙊𝘼𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂. When I first read his book, he was so much more strict with his carnivore diet. He was pretty much eating only animal protein. And he was making sure he's eating enough organ meats because, like liver's high in vitamin C and things like that. He was eating almost no fiber. And he was doing well for a few years, like 2-3 years. And then I think this is kind of maybe, I'm not sure, but I know he moved to Costa Rica because he's always broadcasting from Costa Rica, and he surfs like 3 hours every morning where you burn up a tremendous amount of calories. Then he started saying that he started having electrolyte issues, meaning that I'm assuming his potassium, magnesium, things like that were kind of low. So he started just doing the carnivore diet, but he eats a good amount of fruit now. He eats papaya, like local fruits. He eats 200 to 300 grams of fruit every day, but he is surfing 3 hours a day. And I surfed in Costa Rica. I mean, every wave in Costa Rica is 5-6 feet. I mean, you can get 10. He must be a great surfer, just like burning an insane amount of calories, just conditioning himself, surfing like that. So I would just, if you can maybe, without bothering your colitis, just eat some fruit with the carnivore diet. I think it might be a good thing for you. And I know Joe Rogan, he did this carnivore diet, and he seems to progress now to more of a carnivore with fruit. I kind of like that diet, and that's what I did when I was in Hawaii. And I literally had like bacon and things like that. I had bacon and like sausages and, pork and things like that, with a ton of fruit for breakfast. And then dinner, I went high protein. I just had a little fruit on the side because I didn't realize how much I like papaya. I didn't realize how popular it was. Mango and stuff like that was popular in Hawaii. I actually loved it. It was great. Cool. Let's see, Jeff. So this is Jeff now. Doing the 3-day thing you recommended last stream, but a little more extreme in both directions. I do 1 very low cal day, 700 to 1,000 calories. That sounds good. And then 2 moderate, but still calorie deficit, 12 to 16. Okay, if that's working, that sounds great. And I'm assuming you're keeping your protein up. And I'm assuming you're eating some vegetables and stuff like that for the fiber. Day 3, eat whatever I want. Okay, so on the 3rd day, you bump up the calories, but not trying to stuff myself. I have lost 4 pounds in 2 weeks. So that sounds good, Jeff. I like it. I think it's great. That sounds great. Hey, Krill. Hey, thanks for hey, Mike. I had COVID and ate like a pig. Need advice how to kick carb addiction. Good vibes. Thanks. I know how you feel. So the same thing happened to me. I know. It's interesting. It's going to be a little bit of a tough transition. Once you start eating those carbs and you do it for like more than a few days, say you're doing it for a couple of weeks during your recovery, you become less insulin sensitive. Your body, your blood sugar's all over the place a little bit, and you just crave the carbs. And I know I'm the same way. If I go like two weeks like that, I have a harder time getting off the carbs. You got a couple of choices, Cole. You can just tough it out and be miserable for 2-3 days and eat like really low carb. Less than 100 grams or 50 grams a day or something, just to break your carb addiction. Or you can just gradually do it. There's no secret to it. I probably would just do it gradually. Stick to 150 grams of carbs a day, mostly vegetables, fruits, maybe a little bit of grain. Then go to 100 grams. Once you start eating 100 grams of less of carbs a day, after like 4 or 5 days a week, I don't think you'll crave the carbs anymore. I know you were doing so good in the past. It's just a little bit of a tough transition. There's no secret to it. There's no way around it. I mean, some people like to say, keep the electrolytes high, similar to what we were talking about before. Make sure you get enough sodium in your diet. Drink a ton of mineral water, things like that. When you're cutting out the carbs, it could possibly help a little bit. Other people, but I wouldn't do those things like, those fat bombs and those keto type tricks. I wouldn't do things like that, because there's just so many calories there. See, Deborah, thank you, Mike. We'll follow those suggestions. You are the best. Thanks. I really appreciate it. Cool. Thanks. So back to my food. So this is like the perfect meal, I say. So we got my 10 ounces of blackened salmon. I must get, 10 ounces, maybe 60 grams of protein right there. Then I have my avocado. I eat an avocado every day, loaded with potassium, loaded with fiber, right? It's 15-16 grams of fiber, about 800-900 milligrams of potassium, which is incredible. Avocado is a superfood. I eat a minimum of 1 every day. Then I cut up some pickles in there too. I like fermented food, good for the good bacteria in your stomach. Then we have some, I think it's a combination of arugula and spinach. Those are my 2 favorite microgreens. High in nitrates, which convert to nitric oxide, which is good for blood flow, especially when you get older. I love it. Let's see what Gene's got to say. On my cheat day, I restrict the cheating to just 1 big meal to feel full once, because if I took the whole day, I could easily go 7,000. No, I hear you, Gene. Calories are more throughout the day. That sounds good. I like it. I think it's great. All right, let's go to the next meal. I gave you 2 similar to start because we'll talk about the salads first. So that was like more of a like a omega-3, like that salmon. This is a combination. This was like a a couple of chicken breasts, and then I wanted the omega-3, so I have some. I eat smoked salmon a lot too. I keep that in the house. And this is such simple cooking. I just grill a little chicken in some extra virgin olive oil, salt, pepper, maybe a little garlic powder, a little onion powder. Really takes me 6-7 minutes to make a couple of grilled chicken breasts. And I love the smoked salmon. I just keep it in the refrigerator all the time. I buy it at Whole Foods when it's on sale. Love it. Once again, my avocado. I generally like to, most of the time, put some type of those low sugar fruits in my salad. So these are raspberries and blueberries. And I think this is just straight up arugula salad, little EVOO, extra virgin olive oil with some balsamic vinegar. And like I talked about in the past, I may not talk about it enough, but I always put balsamic vinegar on my salads if I don't take apple cider vinegar, because that vinegar has the acidic acid, which helps clear and control blood sugar post-meal. So it's really good to put balsamic vinegar on your salads, you know, for sure. This is just perfect eating, prioritizing protein, super high in fiber, a meal like that. And here's an example of like a small meal. Even if I'm just having, like sometimes I might do something like this instead of like a protein bar. So say I had my first meal, second meal. This is kind of a small meal. I may just throw this in, which is just 2 eggs, gives me 15 or so grams of protein, half an avocado, just a handful of blueberries and raspberries. You know, this is just perfect Mediterranean, you know, type eating. You can't do better than that. And you know, we all know that if you follow me, I love sardines. This is another great. This is probably like kind of like a lunch type meal. So I got my sardines here, a can of sardines, 21 grams of protein. I buy the Henry's and Lisa's brand. I love it. You know, wild caught, high in omega-3s. Plus you get the bones of the sardines, which has high in calcium. Then you get the skin, the connective tissue. Sardines are like a superfood, and they're inexpensive. You buy a can of sardines for $2.50, $3, you can't go wrong. But you know, 21 grams of protein is not enough for me. And this is one of those really big Italian plates, so there's more food here than it looks. This is probably about 5 ounces, 6 ounces of smoked salmon. Once again, a whole package of smoked salmon. No, maybe 4 ounces, because I probably had the whole package. So that brings this meal to about 50 grams of protein, half an avocado, sauerkraut. If I don't eat sauerkraut, or if I eat sauerkraut, pickles, yogurt. I rotate almost every day because I do want some fermented food. I want those prebiotics in my diet. I think sauerkraut's one of my favorites. Bubby's is the brand I buy. I've talked about it in the past. Once again, my low sugar fruits, antioxidants. And if you notice, a lot of my meals are varied in color too. Different colors, different vitamins, different minerals, different nutrients, right? So that's why I like to go raspberries, blackberries. Then we got the green avocado, right? Different colors, different vitamins, minerals. This is like perfect, I think, eating. Like, you just can't go wrong. I love this meal too. I had this a while ago. This is like, must be a pound of shrimp. This is wild caught shrimp from the Gulf of, you know, in Florida. Like Buford, remember the movie, what was that Tom Hanks movie? Forrest Gump, right, from Buford. You know, if you watch the movie, you remember the shrimp boats, which was kind of fun. So that's literally probably 100 grams of protein, like right there, kind of heavy on the protein that particular night. But it was on a calorie basis, not too bad. Then I had my arugula salad here. I think I have some cherries, chopped up cherries, some onions. I got my balsamic vinegar, extra virgin olive oil. And I don't know, I do this from time to time. My son turned me on to this. This is like a ginger shot, and they put like cayenne pepper in. It's really great, you know. As the cayenne pepper actually increases your metabolism a little bit, helps you lose weight. And ginger's a good thing. It just sometimes it gives you, I like it. It's like a little bite, kind of a fun thing to have. I got a few more here. I want to give you another idea of a small meal. Generally, my eggs are my small meal. This may have been, since I'm doing my early time restricted eating, sometimes I'll do something like this, maybe at 10 o'clock in the morning, something like that. This is probably 4 whole pasture-raised eggs, avocado. I love these salmon roe fish eggs. They just got, maybe it's inflation, they just got a lot more expensive though in the store, so I haven't been buying them as often. But these are just, you know, fish eggs, super high in those omega-3s. I actually love them, great salty taste. I think this was like a pear with maybe a couple of strawberries. You know, this is like just a great light meal. This is what I'm talking about, high in fiber, good amount of protein, you know, high in those omega-3 fatty acids from the fish eggs. Just perfect eating. Actually, we made this chili again last night. I'll have it now almost for the entire week. This is my buffalo chili. I've done videos on how I make this chili. I use like bison, which is really lean buffalo meat. We use a lot of green peppers, a lot of onions, So I like it pretty spicy. We use this like Mexican tomato spice, which is really great. But so that's why I'm getting probably 60 grams of protein right there. But then to increase the amount of fiber, even though there's a decent amount of fiber in that chili, I kind of do low on the beans because I don't want too many carbs. I use like half a can of beans. And there's a little bit of fiber there, a little bit of fiber with the peppers. But I wanted to increase the amount of fiber. So I had that whole avocado, threw those omega-3 fish eggs in the middle to increase the omega-3s, and just a little bit of blueberries just to make the meal a lot more fun to eat. I love this. I also think that's another great idea. I always like having like either a bowl of chili, a bowl of chicken soup, like something like that in the refrigerator, so you never get caught. That's why I love having cans of sardines. I always keep a couple of dozen of pasture-raised eggs. I never want to come home and not know what to eat and then grab something that isn't too healthy, even though I don't keep too many unhealthy things in my house. When my kids are home, there's a lot of more unhealthy things in the house, but this is just perfect eating, I think. For me, I think I'll give you one more example of a perfect meal. Yeah, this is just just a classic. I'm not sure if I had that. I think this may have been dinner. These are 3 grilled chicken breasts. Could be about 12 ounces of protein right there. Cut up some strawberries. Once again, my arugula, fish eggs, and avocado with extra virgin olive oil, balsamic vinegar. This is just like, and this is a real big Italian plate. I think they're from Deruta, these plates. We went to Italy many, many years ago, me and my wife too, like 30 years ago. We bought these plates there. We've had them for like 30 years. And that's it. I mean, that's like perfect. No, I think I got one more. Example. Let's see, which one? I don't even know what. Oh, right. I want to talk about this. So I just want to give you an example. This is what I mean by maybe supplementing your diet with a little bit more protein. So if I'm doing too mad, I want another 20-25 grams of protein, so I use protein powders like this. If you're like a vegan vegetarian, this is like more like a hemp CP protein, which is thin grade. This is a collagen protein powder in the middle. I like collagen protein powder. Good for your skin, good for your hair, good for your nails, but keep in mind it's not a complete protein. It's missing one of the essential amino acids, missing tryptophan. So I wouldn't just have collagen, just keep an eye on that. But I like collagen. This is like a whey protein isolate. Garden of Life or For Life, I'm not sure, I forget how it's pronounced, but it's Garden, I think it's Garden of Life. I love it. It's my favorite whey protein isolate. It comes from Ireland. It's a great, you get 30 grams of protein for like 120 calories. And I also use a lot of egg white protein too. I do that too. And I like the mixed protein powders. Like if I'm doing a pre or post workout drink, say I'm using half collagen, so I'm getting the amino acid profile of collagen, which is high in proline and glycine, which is good for your skin, hair, and nails. But since it's missing tryptophan, I might also throw a couple scoops of like an egg white protein, because that's high in tryptophan, or a whey, or a vegan. And I also like these drinks too. This is let me blow it up so you can see it better. One is Celery Glow and one is Green Devotion. These are their brand is called Evolutions. They sell these at Whole Foods. They got a little bit more expensive too. I used to get 2 for $7. Now they're 2 for $8. So they are $4 each. But for the amount of calories, like for example, celery juice, some people don't like it, because I'm having like a brain block. But why I like the celery juice so much is because it's incredibly low in calories. Like this particular celery juice is 35-40 calories, but it gives you over 1,000 milligrams of potassium. So it's one of the highest sources of potassium per calorie. The only thing that maybe might beat is something like a tomato juice is incredibly high in calories, but also low in it's a tomato juice is very low in calories, also incredibly high in potassium. So that's why I like these drinks. They're great electrolyte drinks. That's even something I wonder, Deborah, if that would be if that would bother you. It might not bother you because they're not high in fiber. They're pretty low in fiber, and you'll get like 1,000 milligrams of like potassium, 1,200 milligrams of potassium for 35-40 calories. Doing carnivore might be a good thing. Check them out. I mean, obviously, just do like a couple of ounces, see how your stomach deals with it. But that might be a good way for you to get your potassium, get your electrolytes up, without taking in any fiber. Even juice, I didn't think about that. Even juicing in general for you might be a good thing, but obviously I would go nice and easy with it. All right. So that's pretty much it. All right. Once again, hey, it's kind of a little bit of a short one today. Any questions from anyone? I've been going maybe we'll go an hour, another 5-10 minutes or so. Any questions about anything? And just to let you know, I'm supposed to, once again, I guess I've got a lot of traveling going on lately. Next weekend, I'm going to be in Kansas City. We're leaving Friday, and I won't be back until Sunday night. It's my wife's company's. She got a great company she's working for. It's an office party, like a Christmas office party. So I probably won't be live streaming next Sunday. And I'm also thinking about maybe doing these live streams on a different day because I don't want to miss them. I definitely want to do one at least once a week. So I'm thinking about picking a day during the week, maybe like a Wednesday afternoon or maybe like a Friday afternoon. So if you have any opinions on what would be a good day or time for, for you personally, let me know. I know there's time differences. A lot of people are following me that are out of the US, so I don't want to do it when I look at my analytics on YouTube, they tell me the best time for me to go live is like 11, 12, 1 o'clock, like that. So, but that's hard for me to do during the week because I'm always working at my gym, training clients. So I was thinking about maybe doing a 4 p.m. Eastern time, maybe live stream on a Wednesday or on a Friday. Let me know if those times work. If they don't work, maybe I can't really do Saturdays because I'm training clients on Saturday. So I'll have to stick to Sunday. But I just may miss a Sunday here and there. See, weekends better for me, or evenings. Okay, thanks, Jeff. I know you're based in the U.S. Yeah, Texas. Okay, so that's good. That's good to know. Unless I can maybe another possibility, I can maybe do Saturday afternoons because I work Saturday mornings, which is possible too. And also, I don't want to keep on repeating the same things over and over again. If there's any new topics you want me to cover on these live streams, let me know. And also, it's appreciated. Give me a thumbs up. If you do find these videos helpful, these live streams helpful, share them with your family, your friends, or anyone you think could help. Hey, Anna, I think Anna's from Facebook, right? Oh, cool. Thank you. Safe travels. Appreciate the information. Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, but it's interesting. I've been doing a lot of, I've been taking some of my shorts that I typically would post on Instagram or YouTube, and I've been putting them on Facebook Reels, and they're doing really well. I think I got one with like 70,000 hits already, 70,000 views, which is pretty cool. Love it. Okay, Gene. Are fibers useful if you eat low carb to begin with? I think they are. I think that's another issue when you go kind of too low carb. Like say you're doing like a ketogenic type diet. I think it's hard to get fiber. It's hard to get enough fiber, but that's what I mean. When the lower carb you go, the more you have to be careful to make sure the carbs are really, really healthy carbs. Like eating, you want to eat vegetables and fruit. And even if you're only eating 50 grams of carbs a day, similar to, remember like the Atkins diet, the induction phase of the Atkins diet, under 50 grams of carbs, but he'd want you to have a nice size salad. So at least you get some fiber with relatively, a low calorie, moderate carb, meal. I still would do like a nice big salad every day, even if you're going low carb, or just like, I think an avocado, you just can't beat. Because a lot of people go by carbs to net carbs. Net carbs would mean carbs minus fiber. So an avocado, maybe 25 grams, and a medium-sized avocado, 25 grams of carbs with 15, 16, 17 grams of fiber. So the net carbs of an avocado could be 5, 6, 7 grams. That's why I like those Quest bars that you're eating, Gene, or like those no-cal bars if you're a vegan or vegetarian. I think, you can go with the net carb type thing if you're going very low carb. Okay, here's Jeff. More stuff about doing weightlifting. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay, let's do that. I'm going to do that because maybe I'll do a live stream like that. Correctly would be good. I don't go to the gym, so I don't have someone to help me who's a pro like you. Thanks, Jeff. I'll do a live stream like that, and I'll pull in, because I can do that with this software. I have this 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂 software. I can pull in like videos of, I have a bunch of, short videos of me working out that I can pull in out, but I'll even pull in some other people's videos, and maybe we'll go through a whole, maybe home workout that you can do either with resistance bands or with like dumbbells, with just a minimal amount of equipment to make sure everyone's form like is really good. Okay. A topic I would be interested in is a workout. Okay, workout at home. That's great. Excellent. Let's do that. I'll shoot for that for the next live stream for next week. Well, I'm going to be here next Sunday, but the next one we'll go for like a home workout with minimal equipment, with bands and maybe just some light dumbbells and body weight movements that we can do. And I'll pull some videos in that everyone can follow. How long? Okay, this is ground ad. How long should you do HIIT sprints for in a routine? Should you take a break after 6 to 8 weeks? I don't necessarily think, okay, how long? You don't really have to take a break from the sprints, from the hit, unless you're feeling your body needs it, like your feet, your knees, your ankle, from the if you feel like you need it. But the key to them, I think, is not doing too many, and not doing them too frequently, or not doing them for too long. Meaning that, like, it shouldn't be like a 2-minute sprint, and it shouldn't be 20 sprints. Like you're taking one of those kooky like classes. If you just did 5 or 6 30-second sprints twice a week, I think that would be ideal. So for example, like you jog, warm your body up for 4 or 5 minutes, go for it for 30 seconds, give yourself a 90-second to 2-minute recovery, go for it for 30 seconds. You do that 4 or 5 times, maybe 6 the max, and you only do it maybe twice a week. I personally only do it maybe once. I don't sprint though, but I'll do something like that maybe on the elliptical, because I still got my issue with my knee, or the Stairmaster. I think that's all you need. I don't think you necessarily have to take a break. You can do that somewhat indefinitely, unless you feel that that your body needs it. And also, I don't even think, in my opinion, and the research is a little mixed on it though, I don't think you even have to go like 100% effort. I think if you go 90%, 85% effort on those 30-second intervals, I think you're gonna get like 99% of the benefit from it too. It shouldn't be a torturesome, these workouts, and they really shouldn't. You shouldn't like not be able to sleep the night before knowing you're doing a hit workout the next day. I mean, I lived my life like that for 20 years, where I just worked out way too hard for too long, and I could on leg day I couldn't sleep the night before because I'm gonna be squatting until I'm sick, type of thing. I stopped doing that like 20 years ago. Oh, Gwen, okay. Yeah, workout video would be great. Also, have you heard of the Fast 800 diet? What do you think? I haven't heard about it, but maybe it's kind of more like that fasting mimicking diet, or maybe just a low calorie diet kind of. Because even when you're doing 5-2, where you eat normally for 5 days, and then you do like 2 days of a fast, most of the research, when they look at that diet, allow people to eat about 25% of their calories during their 2 fasting days. So it could be like 700-800 calories. So maybe that's what maybe there's been a whole trend now saying it's just like very low calorie days, or like fasting days. And I do think, like I said, I'm not a stickler. I think calorie restriction is very effective, and it's very similar to fasting. When you're restricting calories, especially aggressively like that, only eating 800 calories for the day, very similar to being in a fasted state. Especially if you're eating good protein and good fiber and things like that, you're keeping insulin levels low. I think I'm not familiar with exactly what you're talking about there. Okay, there we go, guys. Anything else before I bolt? All right, I really appreciate it. Once again, I never wished everyone a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving if you're from the U.S. We got Christmas, we got a lot, New Year's, we got a lot of cool things coming up, so it should be fun. I don't mind December. I hate the winter though, January. I want to move. I'd love to move to California with my buddy Steve. I mean, it would be incredible. I would love it if I could afford it. Who knows, but I would love to live in warm weather all year round. Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Gene. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. Okay, Jeff. That's the latest thing Michael Molson did. Yeah, it's 800 calories, high protein for a certain amount of time. Oh, well, cool. I'll have to check it out. Michael Mosley. Oh, wow, cool. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Ed. All right, guys. Take care, everyone. If you're still there, Steve, thanks for showing up. I really appreciate it. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.